Good afternoon, everybody. Obviously getting ready for another game, and happy to be sitting here with another victory. It certainly was a hard-fought victory. Coach Martin did a tremendous job getting Miami ready to go. Our defense played really, really well. We gave up a couple big plays, but beyond that, I thought we did a really nice job defending them. Held them to the field goal when they had the long drive. They did have a nice drive there against us in the first half, but I thought our defense did a good job, put pressure on the quarterback, and the biggest thing was we did a good job stopping the run. Offensively, we'll give Miami credit. They did a really nice job defending us. They're a physical team. They're tough. I think they just fit the personality of Coach Martin. And it was a real battle, just like the last time they played here. We had a couple plays we'd like to have blocked up a little bit better, and maybe hit a couple more big plays there to give us a chance to get some more points on the board. Thought our defense did thought our special teams did a great job. Just punted the ball very well. We punted a whole lot more than I had hoped we would. But I thought Zach did a terrific job flipping the field, had the one great punt at the end of the game to put it out at the 3-yard line over 60 yards. So it was a big play. The blocked punts were really big in the game. Disappointing that we didn't get a touchdown after the one that Rican got, but we did get points off of it, and that was important. We fumbled the ball 3 times. I was really disappointed with that. Fortunately, we didn't lose any of them. But overall, happy to get a victory over a team that I thought was very physical and very tough. And obviously things we got to do better as we move on to Ball State.
We'll go to 2 questions from Rich DeMarco. What is the key to being successful on the road?
Playing on the road is a challenge, and the just not being familiar with the territory. There's travel and a different hotel, and guys are away from West Point. Oftentimes there's a lot more family around. People travel from those states where our guys live close by, and sometimes there's some distractions there that we've got to try to avoid. Just playing in somebody else's stadium, they've got their own crowd, and they've got the familiar surroundings. And I think there's a sense of pride for everybody when they play at home. So it just makes it more of a challenge.
And one more for Rich DeMarco. What is the best word you would use to describe this Army team?
I think our team is tough. And that's, I think, a pretty good trait to have. And I feel like we got tough players, and not just physically tough, but I think they're mentally tough. They're very resilient. And so I think that's a good fitting description of them.
And we'll start additional questions. We'll start with Charles Grievous.
Good afternoon, Coach. Here you are heading into the 5th game of the season. Can you provide us with the overall assessment of where this team is now relative to the expectations that you had coming into the 2021 football campaign?
I still want us to play better than we're playing, but I think we've played fairly well. For the most part, there's things that we've got to improve on in every phase, and we try to recognize those things each week and use the game as an evaluation tool to really give our guys some constructive feedback on the things that they can do individually and the things that we can do as a team to improve. Everyone would hope to be 4-0 after 4 games. We're fortunate to be one of the teams that is 4-0. So I'm pleased that we've been able to find a way to win each of these games. But again, it's more about the standard of the way we play, how we perform and prepare, than it is the end result of the game or the end result in terms of wins or losses. I do want to win. Our players do desperately want to win, but I think that's the reason that our guys work so hard and play so hard, because they do have a great desire to find a way to be victorious. So I want them to remain humble about who we are and the fact that we've got to get better, and that teams throughout the season are going to continue to improve. Just as we're getting ready for this Ball State game, they're going to be a better football team this week than they were a week ago, and we're going to have to match the preparation and be ready to play our very best.
Great. And excuse me. Obviously, Christian Anderson had a huge day running the ball at quarterback on Saturday. But from where I'm sitting, and you talked a little bit about execution, the fake to Robinson on the pitch, the downfield blocking in the spot, the receivers, K. Bernard sealing off the inside linebacker. Can you just talk about the execution of that play, and is that exactly how you wanted to run?
It did work out just like it was really designed to. And Coach Davis did a great job putting a plan together last week for Miami, Ohio. We did that particular play when we scored there. The first play, the long touchdown to make it 7-0, was a play we hadn't run before. Just it's very similar in the G scheme option, but just changed up the blocking a little bit, and we did that on several of our schemes, just because we got great respect for Miami and the way they defended us the last time we played them, and how physical and tough they are. So we tried to come up with a plan that we thought would fit. We made a couple of big plays, but like I said, they really did a good job of defending us and forced us to punt 5 times. That's not something we're accustomed to.
Great. Thank you very much.
Ken Fraser, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Coach. Just wanted to check. We saw Christian Anderson obviously had a great game on Saturday, but in the fourth quarter, he took a shot. Looked like he got hit in his chest or shoulder and went down. Do you have any update on his situation? If he looks like he'll be back this week?
It's a painful injury he's got. Fortunately, it's not anything broken or anything like that. Just going to have to work on getting the swelling out and getting him healthy. So he's really day to day right now, but he's still hurting pretty good from the injury. Got him obviously on medication, those kinds of things to help with the swelling and with the pain, and we'll get him rehabilitation every day. We did yesterday, and we will again a couple of times today. So we're just going to see how it progresses, and we're not sure on the timeline with it right now.
You certainly have options with Tyree and Jamel who have played, but I was curious about Jabari Laws, if he's ready to play an extensive amount of time in a game.
Jabari Laws could go into the game right now and play the entire football game, so he's ready. And Tyler, Jamel Jones, Jabari Laws, who you mentioned, and then Kay Ballard and Maurice Ballon. I would be completely comfortable if those two guys played the game as the starting quarterback and played the whole game. I think all of those guys are very capable. I think they're all really good players. We're very fortunate to have guys that have that kind of experience and have gained the trust of our staff and our team.
Very good. Just ask you a little bit about Ball State. They've lost to 3 pretty good teams: Penn State, Wyoming, and Toledo. They seem to give up a lot of pass yardage so far, 438 overall yards in a game. What do you see in Ball State? What have they improved on during the season?
Well, we're not going to throw it very much, so it's not like we can exploit what we think might be something that they've given up to other teams. As you said, they played 3 really good teams. Penn State, who's undefeated, Wyoming, who's undefeated. That they've got a good solid football team, and they won the league last year. We're in a bowl game last year. They've built that program back up. Pete Lembo had that program going, and they were one of the top teams in the MAC, and they dipped there for a couple of years. And Coach New now has them going again, and they're very athletic. There's 3 guys on the starting defense that we recruited here, so we got a lot of respect for those guys, and And we're gonna have to do what we do, and that's try to run the ball and be good at that part of the game. That's if we're gonna win the football game, that's what we're gonna have to do the best.
Thanks, Coach.
Tom Shanahan.
Hi, Coach. Good to be with you. Kind of unusual for West Point to have a 6'7" outside linebacker. Can you talk about how you came across Andre Carter in recruiting and how he's developed for you?
About like we've come across everybody else here. We scour the country. We collect names from high school coaches and recruiting services in every way possible, and literally thousands and thousands of names. We do approximately 10,000 evaluations a year for each recruiting class, and narrow that down, try to find the guys that one are a player that we feel like can contribute to our program, but also have the academic credentials and the leadership qualities that are going to make them a candidate for West Point. So it's a painstaking process, but Andre was a guy that we were able to do an evaluation on, and kind of got our hooks into him in terms of an interest in West Point. And I think he was intrigued by this academy, the level of education and the level of football that he could have here. There's not a lot of places in America where you can get a top 25 education in the country and play top 25 football. And so we feel like we can offer that here. And I think he recognized that. We're very fortunate to have him here. He's an outstanding player, and I'm excited he's on our team.
Can you talk about his development? You know, you coach up a lot of guys, but a lot of them are tweeners. And here's a guy that's 6'7" guy.
Yeah, he was a long, fairly thin guy. I mean, he was, now he's in the 260, 270 range. But he was a 220-pound high school player. So it wasn't like he was fully developed or this enormous physical specimen. He was just a long athletic guy and multiple sport guy. And so we, like a lot of our guys, felt like he was a young man we could develop, and our strength staff has done a tremendous job with him. He's gained a lot of weight, a lot of strength, and I'm excited because I think he's going to get even stronger, and I think he's going to continue to get better as a football player.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Sal, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, can you talk about the play of Connor Finucane and how important he's been to your offensive line's play?
He has been a very important part. Started at tackle a couple of games, or started at guard, I should say, a couple of games last year, and then moved to tackle. Has been our starting right tackle this season. And Saturday, we moved him back to guard, just with some injuries and those kinds of things been going on with the offensive line. And he's just done a great job. He's a tough guy. He's a direct freshman that played as a direct sophomore, played as a direct freshman a year ago, which isn't common, particularly with guys that play on the offensive line. Bryce Holland was a guy that started games as a direct freshman here. More out of necessity and injury than maybe he was prepared for, but he ended up being an outstanding player, as you know. Connor is a guy that came in physically ready. He is really strong. He is extremely tough. I watched him when we were recruiting him. I watched a wrestling practice. He was getting ready for the city championships down in Baton Rouge, and the only guy in the school that could wrestle him in practice was their coach. And it was literally a street fight on the mat. He is tough and rugged. Just really admire that quality about him, and just a great attitude, very positive. and he's meant a lot to the team this year, and just as he did last year. I'm excited about the fact that we're going to have him for a couple more years.
No doubt. Is there anyone who had a setback in the preseason that might be close to making their season debut for your team soon?
I don't know that in the preseason, but yeah, obviously being able to put Tyre back in the game Saturday, and Tyson Riley, we're anticipating going to be playing this week as well. So those are guys that got hurt in game one they'll be back. I don't know that there's anybody else that's been injured to this point that we haven't played that was going to be a factor. So yeah, I think we're kind of what you see is what we've got.
Ken McMillan?
Hi, Jeff. You at the start of the year, you kind of listed Tyre and Christian as two quarterbacks who had separated themselves just a bit from the rest. Is the quarterback job chase getting tighter, getting closer among Jones, Laws, Ballard, and Ballon?
I don't know if it's closer. I mean, I think Tyre and Christian really were at the top of the heap. I think that's still the case, but I think for the rest of those guys, they all of them are very capable. Like I said to Ken earlier, Jabari Laws could go in the game right now and play, and play the entire game. He's started games for us in the past. I think he's an outstanding player. He's a tremendous leader. So he's as ready as any of them. Physically, probably not completely back where he was before he had the first ACL injury, but still, I mean, he can run. He's strong. He's quick. He's got a great release as a thrower. So I've got complete confidence in every one of those guys.
You had 0 passing yards on Saturday. Did Miami defend the pass better? And secondly, do you think the next 5 quarterbacks keep the effectiveness of the pass game at a high level?
Yeah, they defended the 5 passes that we threw pretty well. We had a couple of long balls. We had the one that Christian got hurt on, and we didn't do a great job of sealing the edge like we needed to. We did that twice. Twice we threw that route. We threw one and overthrew Brandon Walters one time early, and then Brahim about made a diving catch there. But if we just protect that better on the edge, we've probably got at least one of those 2 would be completed. We had to scramble one time and get out of there and throw it kind of out of bounds on the sideline, and they did a good job of getting a little pressure on us there. So, like I said, the 5 passes we tried to throw, that I thought they did a good job. It's not something we do very much of, but when we've got to throw it or need to throw it, I'm confident that our guys can do it. But that's not our deal. We want to run the ball and control the clock and keep it away from the other team, and it's just the way we want to play the game. But we'd like to be able to throw the ball, but fortunately Saturday we were able to win the game without completing a pass. And I can tell you, there's been time after time after time in my experience with this offense that we've won football games without completing a pass. In fact, the last school I was at, Georgia Southern, the last game I coached there was against the University of Florida. We did not complete a pass. We attempted 3, didn't complete any of them. The last one we tried about got picked off, so we decided that was enough of that. And we managed to win that game without completing a pass. That was the 9th time in school history that we had not completed a pass, and we were 9 for 9 on victories. In fact, there were 2 that season. We played Chattanooga earlier that year and didn't complete a pass, and we won that one as well. So if we've got to throw it a whole bunch, it's usually because we're behind and trying to play catch up, and that's not a good situation for us to be in. So if we can go the whole game without completing a pass and not feeling like we've got to chunk it there to get back in, or put together a last minute drive, then usually we're winning the game. But I'm confident that our guys can do it if we need to or we want to.
I know you got 6 busy days ahead, but can you just sort of give us a feel of how important it is to have a week off next week as far as getting healthy and maybe reinstituting some things that you want to clean up?
Bye weeks are, I think sometimes we are glad that they show up, and there's sometimes that when there's momentum going, and if we've got a healthy team and we've got good momentum, that we almost like to be playing a game. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not thought much about that. I'm more concerned, obviously, about playing Ball State, playing on the road against the defending conference champion of the MAC and a well-coached team.
We'll go last few for Coach. We'll go Charles and close out with Ken Kreitzer.
Great. Again, Coach, here you are at the 5th game mark of the season. Of course, it's easier to project what the key veterans are going to do during the course of the season. But that being said, have there been any players who have played beyond their expectations or simply gone into that next step relative to their game?
I think Marquell Broughton's a guy that has really improved tremendously as a player, certainly over the time he's been here, but just the instincts he has and the takeaways he's gotten, really some great plays. And he had one on Saturday that he went over there and broke from the half field spot and it was out of bounds when he caught the ball, but just going for the interceptions. I think he's had a really good year. Nolan Cockrell has grown into becoming a real force for us. The whole defense just built around that guy, and I think he probably affects the game for us as much as any player does for any team in the country. So just really, really happy with him and his development. Christian Anderson, we talked about him, but can't say enough for how well he's played, how mature he's been this year, and the way he's led our team and handled the role that he's been in. But Tyson Riley, who unfortunately got hurt in the first game, we're really excited about him, and I think we saw some great things out of him against Georgia State. And obviously, having him healthy, hopefully, we're going to get him back in the groove this week. But there are guys that continue to emerge, and there's some of those guys are veteran players who hadn't played a whole lot before. But Chris Cameron, the way he's improved, and Brahim Murphy, and the way he's improved. AJ Howard, who's been really a role player, just playing really, really well for us. But Cam Jones got another pick quietly on Saturday. He was not a starter to begin the year. McDuffie was the starter. McDuffie got banged up, though he's back with us and healthy and closer to being 100%. Cam's played well, and it's great to see those guys stepping up when they have the opportunity.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Last one for Coach. We'll go Ken Kreitzer.
Hey, Coach, just want to go back to something from Saturday in the third quarter. You're up 17-3. You got 4th and 1 on your own 10-yard line. Jacoby had run 3 plays in a row for you, and you let him have a shot at it on the 4th one. He gets to 2 yards, ends up being a 99-yard drive. Tell us about your thinking in that. Was it just a lot of confidence in your offense?
Well, I'm confident that we can make 3 feet just about any time. And if we can't push the ball for 3 feet doing what we do, and we run the ball all the time, then it's going to be hard for us to win a game. So I was confident we could get the 1 yard that we needed. And so that was an easy decision based on the analytics and the trust that we have in our linemen to block and the slots and the running backs that we hand it to. So that was, it wasn't a decision we made at that point. That decision was made long before we got to the game on Saturday.
I was just curious on the analytics that you use. You mentioned it after the game Saturday. What kind of sample size is that involved? Is it just like thousands of college football games, or is it set to be more typical for what your games at an opposition that you're going to play?
Those are specific to our games. Army's offense, and in the case of last week, Miami's defense. So it's all built off of specifics for our team. It doesn't have anything to do with other teams.
Hey, thanks, Coach.
Okay, Ken.
Diane, Robert, you can go ahead and get in.
Thank you, guys. Hi, Coach. My name is Diane Roberts from Behind the Lines, the Academy Football Report. Thanks for your time today. A couple of quick questions. I know a lot of programs would be envious of your consistent defensive success. I wonder how much you think Nate Woody has to do with that.
Nate Woody has about everything to do with that, beyond our players and the way that they execute. But he's a tremendous coach. We've got an outstanding staff, and I just think he's a terrific defensive coordinator. And I squared off against Nate when I was at Georgia Southern, and he was at Wofford, then at Appalachian State, and always admired the defenses that he coached in those two teams and how difficult they were to play against. And so we're fortunate to have Nate here and excited about the job he's doing with us.
Awesome to have him on your side, I know. How has he been able to use the broad axe as sort of an extension of his defensive mentality?
I think Nate would do a better job of explaining just how that came about, and it's not unique to West Point. I believe he brought that with him and that same mentality. But the broad axe is an ancient tool used to hew logs and those kinds of things. It has a very wide blade, and so obviously you swing an axe with a wide blade, it cuts a large path. And I think that's just a kind of a mentality and a spirit of the defense that to say that we're gonna cut a wide path with our defense and swing a big stick.
And lastly, Coach, anyone who follows you guys on social media sees the hashtag last of the hard. I wonder if you can share with us what you think that phrase means or what it does mean to you and your program.
To me, it represents a generation of people, or a group of people in every generation, I should say, the last in every generation that are willing to do the hard things that the common man isn't willing to do. And I think that every one of our young men and every one of our cadets, the men and women that make up the United States Corps of Cadets here at West Point, and every American that serves in the United States military, certainly our United States Army, they're willing to do jobs that not everybody's willing to do, and to pay a price that not everybody's willing to pay. And that takes a hard-minded, tough person, disciplined person, who's very servant-minded, and at the core is hard. And so this group of young men we have and these students we have here at West Point, I think, are the last of the hard of their generation. So that's just a mantra of ours. And I took the term or the phrase that was the only place I know that was used before was at Georgia Southern under Irk Russell's teams. And there were some guys there that kind of developed that mantra, the last of the hard. And that was I really enjoyed working there and being a part of that tradition, that history. That school has a great winning tradition, but it has a history, a blue collar history. When Irk Russell took over that program, they didn't have a locker room, they didn't have a practice field, they didn't have a football, they didn't have a helmet or a pad or a cleat. The first tryouts were a bunch of walk-on guys, and Irk conducted the tryouts on the tennis courts because that's the only place they had outside to work them out. And he built a national championship program in 4 years. They started football in 1981, played 3 games. In 1985, they won the national championship. So it was a bunch of blue collar guys, tough, hard guys that found a way to win. And they coined that phrase. And I've always admired that phrase. We didn't use it when I was at Georgia Southern. I think it was just kind of, I really felt like maybe it was, those were Erk's teams and it belonged to them. But being a part of this tradition here and being around these young men and women at this academy, I think that phrase really fits and describes the kinds of people that we have here at our school and in our program, and those that serve in our United States Army.